First and foremost, T2 unifies many of the disparate and discrete controllers Apple had previously been using on the Mac, including the System Management Controller (SMC), and audio and SSD controllers. T2 also handles security and encryption. That includes cryptographically verifying the integrity of the entire startup process, from bootloader to firmware to kernel to extensions. You can disable it if you really want or need to, but otherwise it will make sure no one and nothing has tampered with your Mac, and it'll do it so fast you won't even notice it's there at all. Thanks to a dedicated crypto engine. T2 also provides hardware encryption. For the SSD storage, there's a unique key for each and every iMac Pro. And if you use File Vault, your own personal key to completely lock down your data as well, in real time, as you're reading and writing it, which is ludicrously cool tech. T2 even includes an image signal processor, ISP, for the new 1080p FaceTime camera, so you get auto exposure and white balance, face detection, and enhanced tonal mapping. These are all features iOS has been benefiting from for years, and it's great to see them, and more custom silicon, come to the Mac. And the best part is, you don't even notice it's there. Not once. In my weeks of working on the iMac Pro have I noticed anything even resembling slowdown, including anything attributable to benchmarks, which he reports are keen timing results look very good for the iMac Pro, which comes in fastest of the 10 systems I've tested over the last 5 years by a notable margin. These systems include recent MacBook Pro, the Mac Pro from 2013, and several Linux servers. To encrypt, decrypt. That's the best compliment I can give it. If you want to work on a Mac that's as secure as technology allows, without anything in the way of a performance hit, you want T2. Biometric bummer. Two of the best features enabled by T1 on the MacBook Pro are Touch ID and, by extension, Apple Pay. When iMac Pro was announced, there was some hope we'd see a Touch ID-equipped Magic Computers architecture. Contrary to what many people expect, there isn't always a perfect gain when you throw more cores at a problem. At some point the cores start to compete for various system resources like memory and disk, and performance begins to flatten out. Keyboard to go with it. But we didn't. Then, when iPhone X and Face ID quickly eclipsed it, there was the briefest of hopes we'd see that instead. But we didn't either. Caught in transition, too late for Touch ID and too early for Face ID. The debut iMac Pro instead focuses all its custom Apple silicon on security. And if any biometric conveniences are to come, they'll have to come in a future generation. iMac Pro memory and storage. With great power comes great memory. iMac Pro starts off with 32 GB of 2666 MHz DDR4 ECC memory, but you can bump that up to 64 GB or 128 GB, twice as much as the standard iMac. Because the memory slots are positioned higher up on the back of the iMac Pro, you can't swap them out yourself if you want more later. But, you can take them to any Apple Store or authorized service center and have them swapped out and upgraded for you. Unlike the standard iMac, there's no Fusion Drive option on iMac Pro. I love that. I understand what Apple was trying to do with Fusion Drive. Bring together the speed of solid state with the capacity of platters. But once you go pure SSD on your MacBook Pro, Fusion just feels slow on your iMac. With iMac Pro you get 1 TB of up to 2.8 GB per second sequential read performance, and up to 3.3 GB per second sequential write performance to start with, which is jaw-droppingly impressive. So much so, our resident IT writer, Anthony Casella, didn't believe the claim and spent a good half-hour in terminal doing read-write tests only to walk away, shaking his head, picking his jaw up off the floor. You can configure it up to 2 TB or 4 TB if you want more. You should think carefully about that, though. Unlike memory, you can't get the solid-state chips changed later. So you're stuck with what you buy, but only on the outside. Thanks to Thunderbolt 3 and 10 gigabits Ethernet, you can hang additional solid-state drives, RAID arrays, NAS, and SAN systems right off the back, and transfer fast enough that you might not need all that much storage up front. When I originally previewed the iMac Pro, I felt like 1 TB of storage is all I'd want inside. And, for additional storage, external Thunderbolt 3 drives would be my go-to. That way, in the case of storage failures, wouldn't have to worry about trying to fix something locked inside the iMac. I'd simply have to swap out enclosures and backups. Having lived with 1 TB for several weeks, though, I now think 2 TB is the sweet spot. Even with Final Cut Pro X optimized media turned off, I'm still filling up the drive with 4K video much faster than I thought I would. And while I have 4 TB of external, the main advantages of the iMac Pro, moving to a workstation class CPU gives access to more cores, advanced processing features, and a bigger, more scalable performance envelope than you can get in a standard iMac. Other key advantages are memory capacity and graphics capability. If your work benefits from any of these things, then the iMac Pro is the natural choice. Storage over USB-C, technically. 2 4 TB drives, mirrored, USB-C and HDD still isn't as fast as Thunderbolt 3 and SSD, but Thunderbolt 3 and SSD aren't nearly as ubiquitous or affordable as I would have hoped by now. And anytime I hit USB-C and HDD, hear those platters spin up, and watch those read-write speeds plummet, I get sad. I would still get more external storage than internal, so that when they throw errors or fail, I only have to worry about fixing or swapping the disk, not taking my entire iMac in for repairs, but I'd double what I previously considered the minimum amount of level 1 storage I have inside.
Follow us. Google search. www.googlesearch.co.in. Facebook/blogtube page/ www.facebook.com web link. twitter.com/blog2bebbed. twitter.com web link. If you like this video, click like icon and share your friends.
If you want more best videos, please subscribe and click bell icon.